Talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants. So Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
But I get it, but it's just it's the nature of the deal. So, and I know it's Lamar, it's our quarterback. I understand how important it is, and it wasn't in his best interest to practice today, and we'll see where we're at tomorrow. But
Today discussing the fact that once again it's a Wednesday and there's no Lamar Jackson at practice. Should we be concerned? Well, based on what happened last week, you'd say no, based on the fact that it's the third different body part that's been listed on an injury designation for Lamar Jackson in the last month. No, I don't know. And it goes back to that question of, does Lamar look like Lamar? And I say he doesn't, but I can't define it. It just seems like there's more going on there than we realize.
But at least Harbs is on they got the 8K camera out for Harbaugh.
That is true. It did look good. You're not wrong about that, Griffin. It did look very good. Hi, it is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio, and as you can tell, I am on assignment. That assignment is my home. And if you heard yesterday's show, you realize why I'm on assignment. I am having a medical procedure a little bit later on today. That's why we're starting early. They are shoving a camera up my butt. This time for medicine, unlike the last time. It was just for fun.
Oh.
This one, it might still be fun. I don't know. We'll see. But it's been an unpleasant last 12 hours in the Clark household. So we're battling through today. We'll see how this goes. I've had dumber ideas than doing a show when I've been prepping for a colonoscopy, but, not many. Coming up in just a minute, Patrick Stevens will join us. Wild night in College Park. We'll talk to him about that. Also, this morning, we'll catch up with KZ, make our picks for the week. We will talk a little bit more about Taylor Ward. Mark Gubicza, former MLB pitcher, Angels Color Analyst, will check in with us to tell us a little bit more about the newest Oriole, who was acquired in the Grayson Rodriguez trade. And the great Charles Davis will be with us before he calls Ravens Jets. So all of that coming up on the program today. And before we discuss Maryland basketball, of course, Jim Smith, the Maryland athletic director, is on the cover of the new print issue of Press Box. Griffin can hold it up because I cannot. I didn't bring one home with me. There it is. You can go get it for free at your Baltimore area Heinz Dairy stores. Yes, for free. Just go grab it. It's yours. They let you take it. You could walk out with 7 of them. They're not going to stop you. I mean, if you want 7 of them, don't just take 7 of them and throw them away. Other people might want them. But, if you want, you can have as many as you'd like. You've done a fine job of holding it up, Griffin. Well done. Thank you, sir. You can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com as well. Lots of college hoops content inside this print issue of PressBox. Meet players from the programs throughout the state. Go pick it up today. It wasn't a great night for UMBC or Loyola last night as they both lost on the road to A10 teams. But clearly the big story in college basketball locally, anyway, last night, was what happened in College Park. And yes, a lot of the conversation surrounds Baba Olatunton, who's the 5-star prospect that committed to the University of Maryland last night over programs like Kentucky and Arkansas. But on the floor, a really wild game. Maryland missing seemingly everyone, including Pharrell Payne, after that gnarly injury against Marquette. And it looked in the final minute like they were going to suffer their first defeat. I know this thanks to our next guests, their first defeat to an in-state opponent since 2009, a game I know he and I were there for, against Morgan State. But Diggy Coit played the hero, this courtesy of Big Ten Network Plus.
Watts on the inbound, gets it to Coit. 10 seconds on the clock, the three-pointer is up, and it's good! Diggy's Maryland moment ties us at 77 with 9 seconds to play.
There you go. That's Diggy Coit hitting a game-tying three that forced overtime. Maryland would go on to hang on and beat Mount St. Mary's 95-90 in overtime. Joining us now to tell us a little bit more about that and everything college basketball. You know him from Blue Ribbon and the Washington Post. He is our friend Patrick Stevens, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Patrick, good morning, sir. Thank you as always.
Thanks for having me.
It's a really weird way to talk about Maryland in the context of last night, because the easy thing to say is they had no business being in a game that was that close with Mount St. Mary's. But we also know Mount St. Mary's is decent. We also know that Maryland was missing a lot of their players, including Pharrell Payne, their most important player. I don't know how to measure the good and the bad of Maryland figuring out a way to win this game somehow.
Well, let's kind of run through a few things. All right, so this is probably going to be long and winding. Maryland did two things really, really well last night. They forced turnovers, or in the first half, it was something of a case of Mount St. Mary's just committing them on their own. And they also got to the foul line at a prodigious rate. I mean, you're looking at 37 of 47 at the line, and some of that was padded in the last minute of overtime. But you take 47 free throws in a game, that's not easy to do. So start there. Secondly, I was getting kind of Terrell Stoglin vibes from Diggy Coit last night. A guy that would just shoot anything, anywhere, and enough of them went. And, in fact, he was super efficient, obviously. Tied for the third most points in school history. Clearly they needed some sort of offense without Payne, without Miles Rice. I mean, I think reasonable people would have said those were going to be their two best players coming into the season. It's hard to win anything without them, and they managed to basically win the last 12 minutes at Marquette and then this game without those two guys. So certainly impressive there. At the same time, gosh, like you have these, there was a stretch before Coit caught fire late in the second half where Maryland was like 3 of 16 from the floor over a 10-minute stretch. And you've seen these sorts of swaths of a game against Alcorn, late in the first half against Marquette, pretty much the entire game against Georgetown. At some point that catches up to you against somebody that you probably ought to be. And as for Mount St. Mary's, look, their two best guys, really three best guys, in Xavier Lipscomb, Orlandis Keys, and Trey DeVoe, were all really good in the second half. I mean, Keys, it gets overlooked because Coit was so good, but Keys was 7 of 11 from three himself. So there was a little bit of back and forth between those two guys. So I look at Maryland, and the key element to them, the one through line, is they clearly believe that they have to get to the foul line. And so that's what they do. It's both shrewd and frankly pretty unwatchable. Because it's just not easy on the eyes to watch a team that's just looking to draw as much contact as possible to get much easier points than they're likely going to be able to create in a normal half-court offense. Unless, of course, you have David Coit just launching shots all over the place. I turned to somebody coming out of that timeout with 11, 12 seconds left in regulation. And at that point, Coit had scored 13 of their last 16 points. And I said, at this point, they might as well just tackle him at this point to keep him away from taking a shot. And it turns out that might have actually been a good idea.
Patrick, what was the game? During the Gravis era, there was a game where someone chose not to foul down 3, and he had a 3 against a mid-major or lower type of team, maybe in like a preseason NIT tournament. Do you remember the game that I'm talking about?
Are you thinking about the Pishon Howard game?
No, I'm definitely. It was definitely Gravis. I was.
Okay.
Hang on. I might be able to come up with it. It might have still been when I was living in Arizona. I might just have been back home visiting, because I remember going to this game with my dad, and I want to say it was maybe GW and it was Lonergan who didn't foul.
How about Vermont and Lonergan?
Vermont,
because they played an
Lonergan.
overtime game.
That's the one. Down 3, chose not to foul, and maybe the answer there is that, look, perhaps what Donnie Lynn said was wait for him to make a move, then foul, let a little more time come off the clock, right? And if that was the strategy, then maybe the smartest thing that Diggy Coy did was just hoist the ball from 100 feet away.
Well,
but
yeah, I mean that's the thing. I also joked that they shot that from Tacoma Park. So what are you supposed to do to defend a guy that just gets the ball on the inbound and launches it? Like there wasn't much time for Mount St. Mary's to react there at all. I have a hard time taking issue with things that the Mount did, other than maybe miss a free throw or two. Right. Down the stretch in regulation. I mean, their bigger issues were that they just fouled way too much and committed way too many turnovers, especially in the first half. And I think in his heart of hearts, Donnie Lynn would probably acknowledge that if they played a better first half, that game isn't even close at the end.
All this being said, Maryland now goes out to Vegas, where we know they're playing Gonzaga and UNLV. We'll see what the third game is. I would assume the conversation would continue to be they're going to be as they're going to have as much of a chance to compete, maybe not against Gonzaga. Maybe if they were at full strength, they still couldn't compete against Gonzaga. But health really does seem like it's the biggest story about even having the ability to compete right now. Yeah,
and let's at least acknowledge that they're getting those first two games in the right order, right? Like they have a shot to beat a UNLV team that's pretty decent. I watched a little bit of them the other night when they won at Memphis. Now, they also have lost to Montana, who is good, and Tennessee Martin, who I don't think is very good. So that's the game you would hope that they could go out and win that game if you're Maryland. You're probably not beating Gonzaga at full strength, given what they've been doing to people of late. I mean, you think about Creighton, you think about Arizona State, Oklahoma. So if you're playing back-to-back nights, you'd probably rather get the game that's more manageable up front. So, but yes, injury-wise, if they can simply get a couple guys back, I mean, there were 5 guys that were out. Obviously, Ricky Passmore out for the season, but 4 other guys injured. If you can get 1 or 2 guys back by the time Big Ten play starts on December 6th, I think that's sort of what you almost have to target. Maybe you get lucky and get a few more guys back next week. But as close to full strength as you can get once conference play starts.
He is Patrick Stevens at Discourse. D1S Course is how you follow him. Patrick, on the local front, I know the good fortune ran out last night as they got bludgeoned at George Washington. But I guess what have we learned about UMBC from these dramatic game winners from DJ Armstrong Jr., who we had the chance to catch up with the other night? Is it a team? Can you ignore last night and say, hey, take the positives? They're beating the teams that they should beat. Is that the way we talk about it?
So first of all, I just want to point out GW is really good. Not just going to be 5th or 6th in the A10 good, but could possibly win that league and could make the NCAA tournament good. And they have been wrecking people early in the season. Beat American by 40 last week. Had Old Dominion down by 30 before that game got down to about 23 or so by the end. So for GW to go do that is kind of in line with what they've been doing to people. I think if you're UMBC and you're sitting there and you're like, well, we've been living good the last couple games. If that's the correction, better to have it happen in one game than over a string of tight losses, right? So I don't think UMBC is like a top 75 team. So for them to go on the road and get demolished like that, well, it happens. I think that they had some injuries. They were without Ace Valentine in that Wagner game, so they were sort of trying to figure things out, come up with a lineup that worked, and so that, which is why Cougar Downing suddenly started playing some minutes. Like they were just trying to figure anything out that would help defend those guys. So I think if you're at UMBC, you feel good about being 3-2. I don't think there's anything you're complaining about with that Dayton loss in terms of how you played overall. And it's obviously, Jim Ferry will say it over and over and over, but it's a race to get ready for January and February. That game last night did not go well for them. There's no reason to hide from it. But I do think there's a chance for them to pick up a couple victories at home next week against Notre Dame of Maryland and Delaware State. And that puts you in a position to go play Georgetown basically in 2 weeks as maybe your next sort of barometer to see if you've made some progress against a top 100 type team.
As far as Towson's concerned, I would assume there's not really any shame in losing on the road at James Madison, just kind of a bummer the way that it went because they very much had a chance to get that win.
Yeah, and Madison hadn't been playing all that great early in the season, but sometimes you're looking at these things and at this stage of the game, you're like, well, do these teams have any kind of continuity? I think in some ways that's probably the disappointing thing to Towson is that they do. The other disappointing thing to Towson is that really for the first time this season, even including their exhibition game against St. John's, like their defense wasn't up to par. And I think that was probably the big takeaway for Pat Scarry to see James Madison get to 81, not up to the standard. And certainly from what I saw on Friday night against Norfolk State, the defense was very much in midseason form at that point. So clearly Towson is not going to be a team that is going, they're a team that's going to have to go win the CAA tournament regardless. I mean, they're just about, if there was any dreams of an at-large shot, they're probably gone by now, which is okay. You don't expect that to be the case for a CAA team. So at this stage, the keys are, can you find maybe a fourth scorer? Can you figure out the two guys that are going to be on the floor that are best going to complement Dylan Williamson, Tyler Tejada, and Jack Doumbia? Because at this point, and I think it kind of shows up, what was maybe a little wrong on offense for them. You can't have games where if you're really reliant on three guys, they all have to play reasonably well. And while Dylan Williamson, to his credit, no turnovers in 33 minutes, 3 of 13 is probably not what they need from him. So can they kind of figure all this other stuff out? There's certainly some time to do that. They'll get 3 games in 3 days, starting with Rhode Island next week, down in Kissimmee, Florida, down in Orlando. So Rhode Island, then Liberty or Vermont. So a really good mid-major tournament for them to play down there and work through some things.
Anything else on the local front? I know Navy kind of competitive again on the road against a good team.
Navy acquitted itself fairly well down at North Carolina. So certainly interested to see what the mids can do coming up here over the next few weeks. I'm going to get a good look at them on Saturday when they play NJIT down in Annapolis. So I think those tough stretch of games here for Morgan State, lost to North Carolina A&T and Mercyhurst in their last 2 outings. Probably worth a mention there. And Loyola split 2 games over the weekend and played decent on offense last night, but ultimately fell to a really physical and athletic Duquesne team. And they're off to Kentucky, which should be a fun experience for the Greyhounds.
And then on the national front, I guess the big story might be Michigan State, right? And a great performance the other evening. Or did that tell us more about Kentucky, what happened in New York?
Well, it certainly seems like a lot of people think that says more about Kentucky. But, Michigan State, I think this is their first 4-0 start since the pandemic season when they were 6-0. And there was a Duke win at Cameron and then just whoever else happened to be able to be healthy, right? Which was kind of the way things went that year. And that season didn't work out well for the Spartans, but I think this one's going to be a little bit better for them. I think one of the things you look at for them right now, they've beaten Arkansas and Kentucky to this stage, and they've got some older guys that they're using, but they've also got some. Jeremy Fears, for example, had 13 assists. A second-year guy that clearly settled in very well. Jackson Kohler with 20 the other night. It feels like it has just enough age, maybe not on the bench, but just enough age to be a really good Tom Izzo team. And as for Kentucky, one of the clips that went around was clearly Mark Pope being frustrated that it was essentially kind of if one guy's not out there doing well, that things are struggling, and there's some time to fix that, but time's ticking. So they get Loyola and Tennessee Tech in their next 2 games, and then they get North Carolina, then they get Gonzaga. So, and then after North Carolina Central, they get Indiana and St. John's. And then after one other non-conference game, it's off to SEC play. So there's only so much time for them to completely figure things out. I don't think it's a lost cause by any stretch, but at the same time, I think the early results suggest that Kentucky is not a top 10 or top 15 team at this moment.
That's fair. The other national storyline to me, Patrick, and this is just my old man in me, is every time I read a story about like the potential lingering death of the Maui Invitational, it just makes me sad because I think about watching basketball as a kid, and this was the week where I could get the teachers to wheel in the TV, and I understand that the times have changed. I don't know why I have any affinity towards the Maui Invitational. I shouldn't care. But for some reason, I'm very sad about this thought process.
Yeah, I think you kind of look around and a lot of these MTEs have been either clipped down or reduced or have kind of gone away. And so it's a situation where you need to be able to give people money. And the fact is that Maui was always going to cost you a lot of money. You had to go out there. Like there's no getting around it. That's one of the reasons. It's sort of impressive it lasted this long. Think about, you remember the Great Alaska Shootout up in Anchorage? They had the same problem. Yeah. And that tournament's been gone now, I think, for about 15 years. So the thing is everything in college sports right now is designed around extracting as much money as possible. It shows up in things that fans don't care about, like where the media sits. Like at Maryland, those seats have been relocated this year up above a tunnel so that they could attempt to sell. I want to correct myself here. They have not sold a lot of these seats, but attempt to sell some of this premium seating behind a basket. Some of it shows up in, basically squeezing donors for more money for whatever it is, raising ticket prices. And some of it shows up in what sort of scheduling opportunities are there? Are you going to go play someplace and get some money and give it to your players? I mean, that's kind of the whole idea behind the Players Era thing out in Vegas. Now,
look, Maryland was supposed to play in the Maui Invitational, but they just chose. We're going to Vegas.
Maryland was finally supposed to play in the Maui Invitational, and now it's not. Now it's not going to. So hadn't played in Maui. I think it was since 2009 or something.
Yeah, that
08,
sounds
09?
right. Yeah.
Like in that range. So, it would be a shame certainly, but that's just how it is. And the fact is if you're looking for somebody to wheel a TV in, like that Vegas event has games going from 10 a.m. local time until midnight or something along those lines for at least 2 days. So there's still going to be college basketball on TV. It's just going to be relocated and in a different structure. It's certainly not going to be your traditional bracket format like it was out in Maui. And you're certainly not going to see Chaminade trying to pull upsets either. I think
or Dan Schulman in a Hawaiian shirt, Patrick. That's part of what I loved about the Maui Invitational.
There you go. I would say the late Bill Walton next to Pash in those situations would have been the broadcasting highlight to me. But I totally get where you're coming from.
All right, let's play the game. Can Patrick Stevens name the MLB teams that this particular player or manager was with? We begin with the manager. Nice, easy one. And give me the 3 teams for Joe Madden.
Joe Madden would be Tampa, the Cubs, and the Angels.
Now a far more difficult one, but someone known for some playoff heroics, was one time an all-star. I admittedly only got 2 of these, sir, but here you go. 5 teams for Joe Saunders.
Joe Saunders, gosh. All right. Well, I remember he was definitely in Florida and Tampa Bay, right?
Oh, I think you're thinking of Tony Saunders.
Oh, I'm thinking of Tony Saunders.
Yeah,
I am thinking of Tony.
Yeah, Joe Saunders.
Joe Saunders was definitely an Angel, right?
Yes, obviously an Angel, correct.
Okay, and yeah, I'm probably not going to do very well on this one. So let's just move on to the next thing.
All right, fair enough.
Orioles, Rangers.
He was a Ranger who, of course, he beat in that playoff game with the Orioles.
How many teams was it total?
It was 5.
Seattle.
There you go. Look at you. Yeah. And the other one was Arizona, actually, for Joe Saunders. So another easy one, the Hall of Famer. And this was really why we started this game, is do you remember this guy who was known for one team but then happened to pop up in some other places at the end? I think it was Randy Johnson that started this game for us. This is 3 teams, and I bet a lot of people forget that there were 2 more at the end for the legendary John Smoltz.
John Smoltz, Atlanta, Boston, and St. Louis.
That's correct. Split the 2009 season in Boston and St. Louis. What's the schedule look like for you this week, sir?
That Navy NJIT game on Saturday, and Morgan State and Drexel on Tuesday. A fairly light schedule as everybody scatters to warmer locations for their MTEs this week.
No doubt. At Discourse, D1S Course on Twitter and Blue Sky. That's how you follow him. Patrick Stevens, always appreciate you, sir. Let's talk next Wednesday if that works for you.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Patrick Stevens with us as he is every week here on GCR. All right, got to grab a break. I'm sorry, KZ. We'll come to you when we come back in. Make some picks for this week next here on Glenn Clark Radio.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Don Marcus profiles new Maryland Athletic Director Jim Smith, breaking down the challenge he faces in his new role and the unique background he brings to the job. Also inside, Brandon Schwartzberg takes an in-depth look at Orioles outfielder Dylan Beavers. And we meet college basketball players from all the programs around the state before the season gets underway. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region. And starting this month, you can find us at Baltimore area High's Dairy Store locations. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Get ready to hit the ultimate holiday jackpot at Live Casino during the live action $1 million giveaway. Every Friday through December 26th, we'll draw 25 lucky cash winners, but only one winner each Friday will advance to the final rounds on December 26th, where you could win $1 million in just 3 spins. Come make your million, only at Live Casino. At Erndale Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Thursday edition of the program. If you missed Stan the Fan Charles and Luke Jackson breaking down the Grayson Rodriguez Taylor Ward trade, find it right now. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Click on the videos tab. Go to YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stan's shows are brought to you by the Costas Inn and the all-new Costas Inn, now open in Timonium. It's Thursday, and on Thursday, we make picks. Joining us now, he is our friend Ken Zalis. KZ, what's going on, buddy?
What's happening? Slow sports week, huh?
Yeah, not really much of anything going on. Packing a ton in. Good time for me to pick to go have a nice medical procedure when there's a bunch of stuff happening.
Yeah. We can't schedule those things around.
Yeah. Well, you're like 100 years old. You probably have to have one of these every couple of years, right?
Every 5 or so.
Yeah. Looking forward to that part of my life. Looking forward to that.
It's a great
All
nap.
right. That is, you know what? It's a good point. I don't sleep much, so I do have that going for me today. I'm gonna get a nice little bit of sleep here in the afternoon. Real quick, and we, you know what? I don't even have time to do fantasy stuff with you because we got a lot to do here. Am I playing Zonovan Knight or Bashal Tutin this week?
If Tuden plays, it's him. I mean, it's an easy decision.
Really?
Well, we got to kind of look at Knight is in a timeshare at best, and there's a rumor that Mr. Benson could be back.
Oh, okay. That would make a difference. And then
Yes.
Christian Watson or Romeo Dobbs.
I hate them both.
So do I, but that's where I'm at.
So it's funny because I eliminated Dobbs from all my rosters. That I also rostered Watson because I was just tired of trying to decide which one of those was going to catch passes, and I can't wait for Jaden Reed to come back and screw it all up even more. I guess Watson. He's the bigger bet for a touchdown.
All right.
Would you play Kyle Pitts over Romeo Dobbs then?
No, I'm not playing Kyle Pitts anywhere anymore. He's a problem again.
All right, just check. Fannin over Dobbs.
That's my guy. That's my guy, KZ.
He had like 3 good weeks this year. It's like, yay, Pitts is back. Oh.
Alas, that's what we've got. All right, we got to get into it. Let's make some picks for this week. Here's where we're at as we go into week 12 of the NFL season. James Revere, 2 games in front of Griffin at the top of the table, 5 games in front of myself and Andrew Stecca. Then Jeremy Kahn, John and Little Rock, 6 games back, John Proctor 7. Ryan and Joe Serpico, 8 games off the pace, and only 2 games clear of what is now a 3-way tie for our power bottom. Ken Zalis now has company with Kyle Ottenheimer and Paul Valley at the bottom of the table. So a chance to get out
Ken.
Of power bottom position this week. We will see how it goes. 3 college games, 6 NFL games. As always, Griffin, where are we starting this week?
We're going to the college football capital of the weekend, obviously. College Park, Maryland, as the number 18 ranked Michigan Wolverines, I guess still. I mean, they don't have a chance at making the CFP, do they? I guess technically they do with 2 losses. Could they
win the
still
Big Ten? Somehow get in? Yeah, right. Like I guess Ohio State could lose 2 games and Michigan would beat them, and then still an outside chance, but it's just an outside chance.
Okay. Michigan ranked 18th, coming to Maryland. Games at 4:00 on Big Ten Network, and the Wolverines are laying 14 against the Terps.
So Michigan has only won 1 game all season by twice, because they also beat New Mexico by more than 14 points. I know I finally got right this season when I picked against Maryland, but like I just feel like this line it's not the type of humorous wrong that like makes you say you have to pick it, right? Like the way the Steelers line was last week. This feels more like you're setting the line because of the other team and not really thinking about the team that you're favoring by 2 touchdowns. I don't think Michigan offensively deserves to be a 2-touchdown favorite over anyone, even a Maryland team that's lost 6 games in a row. I don't think Maryland's winning, but I'm going to pick them to somehow hang around in this.
I mean, this is easy. I think Maryland wins outright. I really do. I mean, the motivation and the kick in the ass that they got by their coach coming back next year and the big announcement that they're going to put more money in the program. I mean, the excitement in College Park.
Get to the part where you say
Michigan by
kidding.
Michigan by 25.
Just get to that part.
I mean, logically, there's really no reason to pick Maryland here, except that I really want them to win. So I'm going to pick them for that reason. I hope they shock the world, they shock the universe, and my over 4.5 bet finally hits against Michigan. So go Terps. Go Terps.
That's right. Griffin had an over 4.5 wins bet on a team that started 4-0 and hasn't cashed it yet, which is amazing.
And they were up
That's
20-0.
hilarious.
They were up 20-0 in
That is
the fifth game of the
hilarious.
season.
It is amazing. Don't forget, of course, our friend AJ Francis is collecting canned goods and non-perishable food items before the game for Sarah's house down by Fort Meade. So please, if you are coming out to the game, please bring your non-perishables. For the many, many of you that are not coming out to the game, many, please Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App me so that I can go buy some more ramen noodles to deliver for the folks at Sarah's house this holiday season. You can remind me, or you can ask me what I'll tell you what it is in 2 seconds. But please, just do the right thing. Support our friend AJ. He's a good man. He's doing the right thing. And it's a tough time for Maryland football, so we could use the help. Glenn-Clark on Venmo, Glenn Clark 180 on PayPal, Glenn Clark Radio on Cash App to support what AJ's doing.
Glenn and I not alone on the Terps. Jeremy Kahn on Maryland, and Joe Serpico, John in Little Rock. Because Johnny Holiday said so, John in Little Rock will take the Terps.
All right. Respect.
Yeah. Everybody else on Michigan. To Oklahoma, where the number 8 ranked Sooners, coming off a big road win over Alabama, will host the number 22 ranked Missouri Tigers. This one's a noon kick on ABC. Oklahoma -7.5.
What's the story on Missouri's quarterback, Griffin?
I'm pretty sure he's doubtful. It's going to be the freshman.
All right, Oklahoma.
The freshman Zollers again.
This time, I'm not making the mistake that I made last time. Oklahoma.
I don't care who's quarterback in Missouri. They are the most overrated team in America. Oklahoma.
Oklahoma's pretty good at home. In the month of November, since 2000, 43-3 straight up at home, which is the best in the country. I think this is going to be a really good game because it's a completely different matchup for Oklahoma than Bama was last week, because Bama was going to pass the ball and then pass the ball more. Missouri can't pass the ball at all. They're going to run the ball because they might give what's their running back, Hardy. They might give him 50 carries on Saturday.
I love that this is the part of the show that you prep for, but nobody cares this much about the Missouri-Oklahoma. Griffin actually writes out notes about every game. No one cares about Missouri-Oklahoma. Make a pick. You can save that for something that people care about.
This is the 12 p.m. ABC kick. I mean, this is definitely
just get to the part where you make the pick.
I think it's low scoring, and Missouri's going to shorten the game running the football here, and I think it's going to allow them to hang around. Defense good. Against defense, 7.5 points. I'll take Mizzou here. I'm taking Missouri. It's a weird, it's a letdown spot for Oklahoma as well. So Missouri. Jeremy Kahn joins me, as does James Revere on the Tigers. Everyone else on
he's
OU.
very good at this, so that's good news for you.
To College Game Day, they're going back to Oregon for the second time in 3 weeks. The 7th-ranked Ducks are hosting the number 15-ranked USC Trojans, and Oregon laying 9.5.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of Oregon, but I don't think anything of USC, so give me Oregon.
And that's exactly where I am. I don't think a thing about USC. I think Oregon kills them.
Darn it. I don't like agreeing with you guys because I've also got no clue here. It'd be cool to see multiple top 10 teams lose so we get some more CFP chaos. But I think USC is 0-4 against the spread in their 4 ranked matchups this week or this season. So I'll take Oregon as well. Some backers of USC, Andrew Stecca, John Proctor, and Kyle Ottheimer and Paul Valley on USC as well. To tonight, Thursday Night Football on Prime, the Houston Texans hosting the Buffalo Bills. Davis Mills getting the start for Houston again, and the Bills coming on the road laying 6 after a big win over Tampa.
Yeah, right, and that almost feels like a trap, right? Like you say, well, if it's Davis Mills, there's no way the Texans can be competitive. The Bills look good last week, so then it makes you say, why isn't it more than a touchdown? I still can't do it. Bills.
Yeah, I want to because I think it's going to be a really ugly game with Houston trying to just run the ball a million times because the Bills can't stop the run. But it's not a touchdown, so I'll take the Bills.
Remember the Texans held Josh Allen to 9 of 30 passing last season. Texans, and they do have literally the best defense in the NFL statistically this season, and I think Woody Marks is going to run the hell out of the ball and shorten this game again for Houston, much like my Missouri angle, so I'm going to go ahead and take the points with the Texans at home here, despite no C.J. Stroud. And we are perfectly split on this one, 6-6. You both on Buffalo. James Revere is on Buffalo. John Proctor, Paul Valley and Ryan Shell on the Bills as well. 1 o'clock on Sunday, CBS will have the Chicago Bears hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the 7-3. Are they leading the NFC West? I think, or the NFC North. The Bears are laying 2.5.
They're in first place.
First place, Chicago Bears laying 2.5 against the Steelers.
Bears. Again, it's the exact same thing I would say about Oregon. I don't trust the Bears on the whole. Like I don't. If somebody said, "Do you think the Bears are legit?" Like you got to tell me what the context is there. Like. Do I think they can win the Super Bowl? Absolutely freaking not. But do I have more faith in them at the moment than I do in the Pittsburgh Steelers? Yeah, I do. Give me the Bears.
Who's quarterbacking for the Steelers this week?
Aaron Rodgers says he's going to try to practice.
It's going to be
today,
Mason Rudolph. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'll take the Bears.
Wait. All right. Is it really going to come down? Do you really think it makes a difference which of the two of them plays quarterback?
I mean, I think Mason Rudolph is
I actually
better.
do. I actually do. I think
better
Rudolph
for that
can
offense.
I think Rudolph can push the ball down the field, and Aaron.
Yeah, you might be right.
And just I don't know, just throw it to DK 30 times. I think that could work out for them as well. I'm picking against the Bears because they're not throwing it to Roma Dunze enough, and it's making me really mad. And also, I'm not buying a single thing that they've done. They lost to Tyler Huntley, and they've beaten bad teams in close games. So I'm not buying the Chicago Bears. I'll take
what
the Steelers.
What are you buying about the Steelers?
Mason Rudolph starting this week, so I'll take that. And they're getting points. It's Mike Tomlin getting points. I can't. I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for Mike Tomlin getting points. We are perfectly
sucker
split
for cornrows and manicure toes.
Perfectly split again. 6-6. You both on the Bears. James Revere, Joe Serpico, and Ryan Shell on Chicago, along with both of you. Saying it's a really good 1 o'clock window. Unfortunately, the Ravens play a bad team. Indianapolis Colts at the Kansas City Chiefs, also at 1 o'clock on CBS. The Chiefs. Laying 3.5 against the Colts.
Why in the world is this a 1 o'clock game? I know, because we can't flex the effing Dallas Cowboys out of the 4:25 window.
Well, that one's also on Fox, right? So it's like, is that a different?
Yeah, but they can have. It doesn't matter. There's no conference rules.
We do get
anymore.
to see Shador in the 4 o'clock window though this weekend.
Great. This is really, really fascinating to me at this point, because this almost starts to turn into last stand territory for the Chiefs. And I get it. They're very capable of running off 5 straight wins at any point, and we laugh about the fact that we were talking about them missing the playoffs. But this is a Colts team coming off a bye. Hey, I'm just going to take the Chiefs and assume that, at some point, we're going to go back to a normal world, and maybe this is the week where that occurs.
So this is the game that I'm just punting on. I'm admittedly punting on it because I do not want to take the Chiefs. And I think the Indy story is really cool and things like that. I have zero confidence that Indianapolis is going to win this game. But I'm going to take them anyway because I just don't. I want the Chiefs. I just want to have fun with the Chiefs being out of the playoffs for as long as we can talk to them about them not being in the playoff hunt. So I'll take it.
I thought you've been punting on your picks all season, Casey.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm with Glenn. There's a lot working.
I want that clip saved.
There's a lot working for the Colts here coming off the bye, and I mean, obviously well rested, but you still have to go into Kansas City. An interesting stat: since 1990, 15 teams have been 5-5 or worse, but favored against a team with an 80% win percentage, like the Chiefs are. Those previous 14 teams went 14-0 straight up, 12-0-2 against the spread. Yeah.
Whoa!
I'll take the Chiefs again. I don't know. 3.5. The hook is weird. That's giving me some hesitation, but not enough. I'll take Kansas City at home here. Again, we are 6-6 split here. 6 of us on Kansas City. It is Glenn and I, Andrew Stecca, Jeremy Kahn, John in Little Rock, and Paul Valley on Kansas City in this one. Finally, to the 4 o'clock window, it is Dallas hosting the Eagles. Philly laying 3.5 going into Jerry World.
I've almost entirely picked favorites. Like the only underdog, I just realized the only underdog I've picked so far is Maryland. So this is a terrible.
Well, that's a good underdog to pick.
I might be 1-6 to this point. I'm not doing it. You're not getting me to pick the Cowboys. That sure as hell isn't happening. Give me the Eagles.
So I am going to take the Cowboys.
Okay.
I think that something is wrong with the Eagles. I don't know why.
They just beat the Lions. There's
But
something wrong with them. But it doesn't.
Score.
That doesn't matter.
They can't score, and it bugs me.
You just love
and
fantasy
I
football, and
think,
the Cowboys produce in fantasy football.
No, actually, the Cowboys. I know it's a weird way. I know nobody's paying attention to it because they traded away Parsons, but they actually made some good deals to fix their defense, and their defense has been better. Oh, you can all you want.
For this season.
True. It's true for this season. I like getting the points here.
This game is going to end probably 27-24, Eagles winning. So, yeah, I'll take the 3.5 as well. Also, Dak, since the turn of the century, second most profitable quarterback against the spread in divisional matchups. He's 31-13 against the spread, Dak is, in NFC East games, behind
you go
only
right
Aaron
ahead
Rodgers.
and put your faith in the. You go right ahead and
I
put
will.
your faith
Well, because
in
they're going to be.
Dallas
They can throw the ball until the end of the game. So yeah, I'll take Dallas here. Again, 6-on-6 split here. 6 on Dallas, 6 on Philly. Ken and I on Dallas, Andrew Stecca, Jeremy Kahn, James Revere, and Kyle Ottenheimer on the Cowboys. Sunday Night Football, a good one. L.A. Rams hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, actually, according to the line, maybe not all that great of a game. Rams laying 6.5 at home.
Yeah, and this feels like, in a way, a get-right spot for me for the Buccaneers and a letdown spot for the Rams, who had 4 interceptions defensively last week and still had to hang on by the skin of their teeth. And I get that the Seahawks defense is better than the Buccaneers defense. I'm not trying to pretend that. But I think there's going to be points scored in this game. And because of that, I'm going to go with the Bucs to stay close. Give me Tampa with the 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5 for a good team that can score is a little. It's a wild line to me. I don't read anything in. I thought that was the Bills had to have it type game last week. For them, Rams are being talked about now like they're the best team in football. I think it's inflated line. I'll take the Bucs.
I mean, everything is pointing towards the Rams. Stafford playing the best football of his career. Their defense is legit. Obviously, the Bucs didn't look. I mean, I guess they scored points, but overall they didn't look all that great competitive down the stretch against Buffalo. Baker stinks in primetime. He's only 2-11 straight up in primetime games. One of those 2 wins though was on that Thursday night game in SoFi when he was with the Rams. And Baker's been a good puppy. He's 12-4 as an underdog off of a loss the last 5 seasons. So, and 6.5 is a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Bucs as well, even though all the signs seem to be pointing towards the Rams. Slight edge to the Bucs, 7-5 split here, 5 on the Rams. Andrew Stecca, Jeremy Kahn, Joe Serp, and John Proctor, and Kyle Ottenheimer on the LA Rams at home, laying the 6.5. Finally, on Sunday here in Baltimore, the Ravens laying 13.5 against Tyrod Taylor and the Jets.
There's no reason to really like the Ravens to cover a big number right now. They're just not playing offensively that type of football. But you're sure as hell not going to get me to be betting on the Jets. Give me the Ravens.
In a revenge game? Really?
Yeah, revenge game.
13.5?
This can't possibly be the first time Tyrod Taylor has played the Ravens.
Is it?
I actually think it is.
I know.
I don't think so. I think he started for Buffalo once against the Ravens. I'm going to check.
Come in a game. I don't know.
I can't remember.
13. What's it? 13.5?
Yes. Yeah, 13.
It's too many. It's just too many. That's too many. The Ravens. I don't know what's wrong with them either. I'm taking the Jets. Jets. Jets.
He's 0-1 in his career against the Ravens, so I do know he's at least played the
you're right.
Ravens
With Buffalo, it was September 11th, 2016. What game was that? Was that one of the ones where
How could I forget?
Where they blew them out, where the Ravens blew them out, maybe? No, it was a close one, 13-7. Opening day in Baltimore.
Oh, even better.
Tyrod, though, lives in this spot. I mean, he's always been an underdog. He's 35-21 against the spread in his career. He's 5-0-1 in his last 6 starts, but that spans across like 4 seasons. I can't do it though. I hate rooting against Tyrod, but I think it's going to end up being a long day for him. Even though the Jets probably will hang around, just because the Ravens have been starting so slow. So my bet here will be Jets plus 7.5 in the first half, and that'll be my pick.
And the rest of everybody?
Did you say Ravens?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just the three of
God.
us. Who
It's
cares?
so there. Yes, I said Ravens.
Most of us on the Ravens. Andrew Steckel's on the Jets. John, I'm taking the Ravens full game, by the way, just the Jets in the first half. John and Little Rock on the Jets. KZ and Paul Valley, 4 on the Jets.
All right, very good. KZ, you're with us for game day on Sunday?
Yes, I wouldn't miss it.
Excellent. PressBoxOnline.com/gameday as soon as it's over. It's all brought to you by Game Day Men's Health, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, and the Costas Inn, as well as, or actually I should say that not as well as KZ, myself, Rita. Andrew Stecka, appreciate him running the show last week, Griffin, and the return of former Ravens linebacker Tyus Bowser. So come hang out with us after the game on Sunday. Love you, buddy. We'll talk to you, I think next Wednesday will be our picks day next week.
Works perfectly.
Sounds
Thanks.
great. Thank you, dude. That's Ken Zalis with us every Thursday to make picks. Appreciate him taking the time for us, as always. And, yeah, Game Day Men's Health, as you know, one of my favorite places. They have taken care of me. I was feeling sluggish. I was feeling run down, just not feeling like myself. As a lot of men in our 40s hour, I thought maybe it might be low testosterone. Turns out I got a complimentary testosterone test, and I have lots of T, so much T. They said, that's not your issue. So I said, okay, well, what is it then? And they said, well, let's consider peptide proteins. And those have been great for me. And so whatever it is that you might be going through, the type of stuff that you don't like talking about with your friends, this is a nice safe space for men to discuss those things. Give them a call right now in Owings Mills, 443-264-4454. In Columbia, 443-266-3505. Or in Frederick, 240-931-3717. Find out more, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. All right. Of course, the Orioles made a trade this week that left a number of us a bit confused. And we have, of course, obsessed with the other side of the trade, what the Orioles gave up in Grayson Rodriguez. So the question now to me is, what are they getting in Taylor Ward? And one of our favorite guests, someone who just puts a smile on my face every time I hear his voice, of course, outstanding former MLB pitcher and Angels Color Analyst. He is Mark Gubicza, and he is with us this morning here on GCR. Mark, it's Glenn back in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Glenn, anytime, my friend. We're getting closer to the holidays and Thanksgiving, so, it's one of those times where I think, I said this the other day, this on social media, I think it's kind of a win-win, for both teams. The old-fashioned baseball trade where I think both teams have a chance of getting something special, and I've been a big fan of watching Grayson just the last couple of years at 23 and 24. I'm thinking this kid's going to be legit, but obviously injured last year. But, you guys are going to love Taylor Ward. He's one of the toughest dudes I've ever been around. And he's quiet. You would never know he's that way, but just judging from some of the things he went through and never really missing a whole lot of time and putting up some great numbers, he's going to be a perfect fit for the O's.
All right, let's get into it, Mark, because I feel like obviously we've been obsessing over it was 4 years of control for Grayson and you only get one for Taylor Ward. But I am trying to figure out what the Orioles are getting. And I guess let me start with this, because the numbers that jump off the page from a year ago are the 36 home runs, but that's the most he's ever hit by more than 10. Like, he had never had more than 25 home runs in a season before that. Was this him finally coming into his power, and we should count on that? Or do you have questions at all about whether or not Taylor Ward really is a 35 home run type of bat in the middle of an order?
Yeah, that is a great question, too. You look at throughout, he had 1 year, he had, 23 home runs. The year before was 25. And, when you look at his swing, and we talk about that during the course of the game, where he's done a real good job, I think, over the last few seasons. That's why I think his power's coming, where his swing type, where he's looking for a pitch in his zone. He's a pretty patient guy. He doesn't go out of the zone a lot, and that's why you see a lot of called third strikes on him, too. That's, obviously you love seeing a guy being aggressive with 2 strikes, but he's wanting to pitch in his zone, and he brings it in there when he is, the way he lifts the baseball. I think he's got a chance to be, a 30 home run guy, next year for the O's, too. And to be honest with you, O's, with the season they had last year, and when you think about all the great young players they had the last few seasons before last year's kind of tough year, they're in the win-win mode. And when you have a guy potentially for 1 year, that he could be that difference maker in your lineup, especially when you look at it the way he has the patience at the plate looking for his pitch. And we know how hard hitting is right now. I mean, the velocity and spin, if you go outside the strike zone, you're not hitting the ball. So he's done a real good job as far as making you throw the pitch in the zone. And when it's in the zone, he definitely doesn't miss it.
So, Mark, I guess the next layer, because you bring up the strikeouts, this just makes me think, is it possible that Taylor Ward is going to be the type of hitter that most benefits from the ABS, the challenge system this year? And I know there's only going to be 2 per game, but I'm wondering if maybe that's something that Mike Elias might have thought about in making this move as he looks at the numbers that you bring up, the strikeouts, which were elevated the last couple of years, 163 in 2024, 175 last year. But the way that you describe his vision of the zone and knowing that obviously he gets on base a good bit, could he be someone that's particularly helped by the challenge system coming to Major League Baseball?
Yeah, a funny question about that, because we looked into that last year, and he was called out a lot more than any other hitter in the American League on pitches that were questionably in the strike zone or not. So I think the ABS will definitely be a benefit for him, because he does have a great idea of the strike zone. And you go back to a number of years ago when him and Mike Trout together were on pace to have an incredible season as far as on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, period. They were at the top of the game. Then he ran into the wall and hurt his shoulder, and it slowed him down a little bit. But he's got a great idea of the strike zone. It's going to help him out now, because when he's taking those pitches and they're not in the strike zone, he's going to get the benefit of another pitch if we try to drive a little bit. Now, obviously, the left field wall in Baltimore, Camden Yards, they bring that in. It's a little more difficult. But he does have good power the other way. I mean, he said he hit a number of home runs to center field to right center field, so I think that comes into play. The baseball flies there at Camden Yards at that part of the yard. And when you look at the rest of the ballparks in the American League East, as compared to the American League West, it should really benefit him even more so, I think.
He is Mark Gubicza, Angels Color Analyst. He's with us here on GCR. Mark, the toughness aspect, right? Like the last 2 seasons, he's played full seasons, and that is obviously when you're acquiring someone for 1 year, you need them to be available to you for that year. Is that something that goes beyond just good injury luck, that he's just naturally a tougher player?
Yeah, I mean, you go back to last year in Houston, he ran basically face first into a metal plate in left field. And I mean, he had a big gash on his eye. We were joking around. He was a hockey player. To stitch him up, he'd be back out there. I mean, it looked ugly. And he came in the next day to the ballpark and said he was ready to pinch hit. We're all like, how are you going to even see the ball? And he was back out in the lineup in another day. Most guys would have been out for a long time. I mean, you go back to a few seasons ago when Alek Manoah hit him in the face with a pitch up in Toronto, and he was like ready to go right away. I was even texting him. I even texted him right after the trade, and I, obviously I've known him for a long, long time from the first round draft pick. Even as a catcher, he's played a number of positions, and he says, I said, hey, you'll love Baltimore. It's one of my favorite places to go to, and it's one of the places teams I like forever. And he goes, yeah, I mean, I love the guys on the team, but I love playing every day. And when you think about it, he's out there pretty much all the time, and he's willing to deal with some injuries. I mean, especially like I said, getting hit in the face, not only with a pitch, but then running into a metal plate in the wall out there at Houston, and still not missing much time at all. So he's a tough kid. He's on the plate, and he will not give in on his own. Like I've gone back to before, he wants his pitch, and he's not going to give up on it. If you pitch him inside, so be it. You better not miss out over the plate, because he'll hit it hard.
Famously a converted catcher from once upon a time, but how is he as a defensive outfielder, Mark?
Yeah, a couple years ago, there was all the conversation, probably one of the best left fielders in the game, and we were thinking in the lines at some point he was going to be a Gold Glove finalist at the very least. His arm, it hasn't been as strong the last year or so, but like I said, he's fearless out there in the outfield, and Ron Washington challenged him a couple different times to see if he'd get his uniform dirty diving for the ball. So he went out and did that a few times too. So he's not afraid to go back on the ball. Like I mentioned before, the wall is generally not friends to most people, but it's just an inconvenience for him. So he'll go wherever he needs to go to make a play. So I think there's some things he can work on to get better, and I think he will be a solid defender out there in the outfield for the O's for sure.
You mentioned earlier he was quiet. One of the things that we talked about with this Orioles team a year ago is like they lost James McCann, and they just never really seemed to replace these guys. They lost Anthony Santander, who played a huge leadership role for this team, and they never seemed to replace him. And look, there's lots of questions about why none of these young guys who have been around for a few years have sort of stepped up and taken that mantle on themselves. But it was a major storyline last year. The way that you describe him, though, I'm guessing we shouldn't expect him to be the sort of fiery, willing to tell everybody to F off or to, get in their face when they're struggling. I don't think we should expect that, should we?
The thing is, every one of his teammates gravitate to him. And
okay.
Even though he's generally, I think he's more quiet to us on the media side. I think when he's in the clubhouse and when he's on the field, he's a different person where he expects to do well. He expects his teammates to do well, but he's also really receptive to, taking the responsibility to be the guy on the team. And even though you have a team at one point, we had Shohei and Trout. Now you have Mike Trout on the team, and they've been teammates forever. And Mike Trout has always raved about what a great teammate Taylor Ward is. That he's a fiery guy. He is a fiery guy, but he's not going to be animated as much as some other players may be. But I'm telling you, all his teammates will gravitate around him and have a blast because he's a funny guy. He's kind of he's quirky, he's funny, he's quiet, but you want to be around him. You want to be out those conversations because if you start talking to him, well, I'm telling you, you might be stuck there for that half hour. Trust me on that one. You'll have a long soundbite, that's for sure, on the radio.
I'll look forward to that. I do like the sounds of that. And then, Mark, just 'cause you alluded to it to start, I think what we are perplexed by, we understand the injuries. We understand the frustration of not knowing. And I think for some of us in Baltimore, we are starting to get into it's always something territory with Grayson Rodriguez. But you still see the talent there, and it's higher-end talent. Given all of the injuries and knowing that you've got still 4 years, how excited are you for the Angels and what you're getting in Grayson Rodriguez?
Immediately when I heard the deal done, as much as I'm such a good friend of Taylor Ward, I didn't want to see him go, consider he's been on the upside as far as his power and production offensively. That just watching Grayson throw and seeing the potential, the size he has and the overall stuff, and he's got an edge to him too. I remember a couple games against the Angels, I said, man, this guy's got a pretty good edge that I love to see. And, you always wonder and worry. And so immediately after the deal, I called up a couple of my friends on the front office for the Angels, and they said they did extensive testing on him, and they were 100% convinced he's going to be ready to go first day of spring training. And they feel that, the procedures he had done as far as the bone spurs, that they feel that was the big issue with him and all the discomfort. So there's a lot of upsides. You mentioned there's 4 years of team control, but he's a front of the line rotation guy. And even our good buddy Jim Palmer right away was texting me, telling me the same thing. Great guy, great potential. I reached out to Grayson even yesterday already. And what a great kid he is too. Anybody plays sports, you just want to see how good they could be if they could stay healthy. And if he could stay healthy, work with Mike Maddox right now, who's going to be a huge boost to this coaching staff, and he's done a lot of great things. You look at Jacob deGrom and all those guys with all their great potential. There's been some injury issues in their career, yet they had some outstanding numbers last couple of years working with him. So in Texas, so hopefully he'll have some kind of magic to work with Grayson and keep him healthy, and we all as baseball fans will be able to see how good he could be.
Well, hopefully Taylor Ward hits like 52 home runs next year, and we're not thinking about what Grayson Rodriguez is doing out in Anaheim, but we will see how it goes. Mark Gubicza, always appreciate you taking the time for us. Really enjoy it. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and look forward to the next time already, my friend. Thank you so much.
You got it, Glenn. You'll enjoy Taylor. By the way, happy Thanksgiving to you, too, and everybody else out there. And O's-land, and I always, you know how a big fan I am
know.
of Baltimore.
I know you are, and I hope you know how much we love talking to you. You really are one of our favorites. Even when we look at a series and the Orioles aren't very good and the Angels aren't very good, we're like, yeah, we still want to call Mark. That's how much we love talking to you, brother. Thank you for taking the time.
Have a good one.
All right, man.
Thanks, my friend.
The great Mark Gubicza with us here on GCR. Appreciate him doing that. All right, I'm going to finish up my part of the show. Well, it's not my part because when we come back from break, I am going to chat with Charles Davis. It's just going to be via the magic of radio that we'll chat with Charles Davis before, or the internet, I guess, maybe not the magic of radio, the magic of internet radio, before he calls Ravens Jets on Sunday. We mentioned Lamar, obviously, at the top. We did not talk about all of the many other injuries for the Ravens yesterday, as lots of guys weren't practicing. They officially listed Rashad Bateman, Isaiah Likely, Ronnie Stanley, Andrew Voorhees, Roquan Smith, Keon Martin, and Kyle Hamilton is out as well. The notable returnee, Marlon Humphrey, was back at practice yesterday in a limited capacity. Justice Hill was also back in a full capacity. I think the question, so Ronnie Stanley with an illness, you assume that's good. The questions, Rashad Bateman, the fact that he's not practicing at the start of this week, given what the injury was, maybe makes you lean more towards the idea that he won't be good. I think Roquan, Isaiah Likely, Kyle Hamilton, Andrew Voorhees, you're particularly looking at today. You know, Keon Martin dealing with the rib injury that didn't allow him to travel back. Maybe you're leaning more towards he might not be good for this week. But will be interesting to see which of those guys, including Lamar, are back out there today. Is there anything else that we needed to discuss today, Griffin?
Derek Queen scored 30 points last night. That was cool.
He did. I did see that.
Pat Spencer hit a logo 3 for I don't know why he shot that, but yeah, that was.
Hey, my dog has something to say. I think it's because my father's here.
Oh, okay.
Is the reason why my dog is all of a sudden getting chatty. My cat wanted to come in and hang out on the shot. My cat actually wanted to do the show at
Bring
one
him
point.
in, yeah. Bring him in.
I would like to go open the door for my dog, but then I wouldn't be able to do the show, which makes it a bit awkward.
Well, we got one more break, right?
No, I want to
wait. You want to wait?
Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
That's I got to DJ the rest of the way.
Yeah, it shouldn't be all that hard. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you by Live Casino.
Requires some skill, though. I mean, you know.
It's brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Of course, Live Casino Sports and Social is the best place to watch every big game, every big event inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. Great food and drink specials, 100-foot media wall, just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook, Live Casino and Hotel Maryland.
The one thing we didn't mention, the Bengals listed Joe Burrow as a full participant.
Yeah,
Yet he didn't participate in 11-on-11.
In 11-11s, yeah. So, I got a lot of questions about that. Got a lot of questions. Sounds very similar to what we just dealt with in Baltimore a couple of weeks ago.
Patrick alluded to it. Diggy Coits scored 41 last night. Tied for the third most points scored by a Maryland Terrapin men's basketball player. Any chance you can name the top 2?
I saw
both predate you, so that's why it's a little tougher. There have been 8 guys that have scored 40.
And one of them was not Derek Lewis, right?
No, he's a UFC fighter.
No, there's an. Oh, for God's sakes, you're
annoying. What era was Derek Lewis? No, Derek Lewis has not scored 40.
He had a triple-double once. I think that's why I always associate him with. I think he was the last triple-double before Gravis had a triple-double. All right. Len Bias.
Len Bias has scored 40. He's scored 41 in the 85-86 season.
Okay. How about wow. And you said they're both before me. How about we'll just go Len Elmore?
No, not Len Elmore.
How about?
I mean, 1 year. Nah, I don't think you'll get him. I don't know. These both are tough. I think they're both really tough.
Gene Shue.
No, not Gene Shue. Gene Shue, though, has scored. He actually scored 40 twice. So there's only 7 guys that have ever scored 40 in a Maryland Terrapins uniform. But Gene Shue scored 40 twice.
All right, give me the era.
He's this guy in the 59 1960 season.
You're right. I'm probably not going to get that.
Al, and I may struggle to get his name wrong. Al Bungie.
I don't know either. So
Okay.
that's one I can't help you with.
Scored 43 against Yale in the
Okay.
1960 season.
And what's the other
And then
era?
this guy scored 44 against NC State in the 78-79 season.
78-79. Larry Gibson?
Not Larry Gibson.
Ernie Graham?
Yes, Ernest Graham, 44 points.
Graham. Wow, okay.
Against NC State in the 78-79 season. So Graham at 44, Bungie, I think I'm saying it right. Bungie at 43, Diggy Coit at 41, Len Baez 41, Gene Shue 41. Two other guys have scored 40, and you should get these ones.
Gravis.
Gravis scored 41.
Yeah, he did in the double overtime game against Virginia Tech that was delayed like 3 hours because of a water main break.
Jeez, really? I didn't know all that.
Yeah, and Joe Smith, who did it against Duke on the road, correct?
Yes, he did. Joe Smith against Duke in 1995.
And was it on the road?
I don't have the game box score in front of me.
Oh, for God's sake!
Hold on, wait. Oh, hang around.
I'm pretty sure it was at Cameron Indoor Stadium. I'm almost certain of that. But I do want to know
maybe
that
you're right.
for sure.
I don't know.
All right, well, find out.
It's not telling me.
Here's what's coming up. You can find it. You have the internet.
I know. I'm just saying. It's just I don't have it directly.
You can pull up that season. It's not hard.
Relax,
You're acting like this is difficult.
I'm just saying I don't have it. Like for some reason.
That's fine. I'll start doing tubular while you look it up. Got it?
Who am I looking up? Joe Smith.
Oh my God.
Well, you're yelling at me. I can't focus.
Here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular wise. Week 12 does get underway. Bills Texans 8:15 on Amazon Prime Video, and Davis Mills will start for C.J. Stroud for the Texans. The Maryland women host Bethune-Cookman 6 o'clock on Big Ten Network Plus. A lot of college basketball. Some of the holiday tournaments.
Yeah,
some of the holiday tournaments start today. So I don't think there's any afternoon basketball though. Unfortunately, I think it's still
on Baller. Yeah, it's on Baller TV. So I don't think we.
Yeah, that's not real.
Can't watch it. It's like High Point and
all evening basketball on TV. Capitals Canadiens tonight at 7. Hawks Spurs on NBA TV at 8. Everything else, go to glennclarkradio.com. Find it there. Non-sports.
Hold on, I'm trying to get this. Oh my gosh, why are the game logs not on the website? I don't know. There's not a whole lot. If there wasn't anything memorable. Non-sports. What's today? Thursday.
Yes.
No, that was last night. We've got nothing.
Nothing at all.
Well, the Law and Order fall finales. We got Law and Order, also BravoCon finale as well, with Andy Cohen.
Okay.
No, there's nothing.
That's
there's nothing. I don't know what you want from me. Great British Baking Show holidays on Netflix.
Okay. Well, that's it then.
You don't believe me?
That's
I mean,
what we
it's
got.
Feast Week. They know. They don't want to. They don't want to intrude upon Feast Week.
I don't think that's what it is. I don't think that's the case. It might be though that there's a. It says March 1st, 1995. So where did the Maryland Duke game happen on March 1st, 1995? That's the answer. That's the answer that we need, and then we'll find out whether it was at home or away. Maryland Duke. March 1st. March 1st was at Duke. I had it right all along, and I got it in about 10 seconds. So there's that.
I didn't doubt you.
Lord. Yes, but you could have confirmed it, and you struggled with that for some reason.
Well, I mean,
Thanks
because
today.
these are 1995 basketball stats.
It wasn't hard for me to find. It was not hard.
Well, the ways that I go about finding stats, I guess, are different. I mean, you probably look up more 90s college basketball stats than I do.
No, believe it or not, I'm not spending my time looking up 90s college basketball stats. Thanks today to Patrick. Thanks to KZ. Thanks to Mark Gubicza. And you're going to hear from Charles Davis on the other side. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the
Elizabeth Warren and Billy Strings will be on
tab
Colbert
at glennclarkradio.com. Warren's actually the musical guest. Tomorrow, Stan will be back in studio with us. We'll preview the Jets with their color analyst Anthony Becht and Stuff and Things.
Yeah.
Stuff and Things tomorrow on the program. Thanks to all of our great sponsors and partners. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday evening. Go Maryland women. Duke sucks. On the flip side, Charles Davis, CBS NFL analyst. He's calling Ravens Jets on Sunday. You'll hear from him next right here on GCR.
Get ready to hit the ultimate holiday jackpot at Live Casino during the live-action $1 million giveaway. Every Friday through December 26th, we'll draw 25 lucky cash winners. But only one winner each Friday will advance to the final rounds on December 26th, where you could win $1 million in just 3 spins. Come make your million, only at Live Casino. At Erndale Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Welcome back here to GCR, winding down on this Thursday edition of the program. We're going to wrap today's show by catching up with the great Charles Davis of CBS. You'll hear his voice on the call for Ravens-Jets on Sunday afternoon. Had to do it a little bit earlier this week, but Charles Davis from CBS right here on Glenn Clark Radio.
Well, it was great to have our next guest on the call last Sunday as the Ravens squeaked one out against the Browns, and we get to have him back this Sunday, and this time here in Baltimore as the Ravens take on the Jets. He, of course, is a CBS NFL analyst. He is our friend, the great Charles Davis, back with us now here on GCR. Charles, it's Glenn. It's always good to catch up with you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Well, thanks for having me. As always good to talk with you, Glenn. Trust you and yours are well, and a happy early Thanksgiving to anyone who can hear our voices.
And the very same to you, my friend. Charles, let me go back, and then we'll talk about this Sunday. But I took my family up to Cleveland on Sunday, right? And we were. It wasn't feeling so great as that game went on. Do you approach it as, hey, this is just the nature of the AFC North. The Browns have a good defense. These things happen. Winning is all that matters. Or, I feel like around here we're maybe asking some questions about the red zone and the offensive line. And it's weird to be asking questions about the Ravens' offense because we thought 3 weeks ago the problem was the Ravens' defense. But how do we measure those things?
I think, Glenn, we're at that stage of how often do we hear this phrase right now? Because how phrases come into vogue, and then you just hear them everywhere. It's kind of like when you talk with women who are pregnant and they have a name they've decided on, and as soon as they get pregnant, they look around and realize everybody's got their kid named the exact name they wanted, right? They're like, oh.
Yeah.
But we are in that stage now where this phrase is very much in vogue. You ready?
Okay.
Well, both things can be true.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of that. You're right. We are doing,
We're doing
an
a
awful
lot of that.
Yep.
And we actually, to me, it fits here because, yes, if you're the Baltimore Ravens and you go to the press conference, if you're John Harbaugh, you're any of the players, they're looking at us and like, do you know what we just went through out there? Okay, we're dealing with Cleveland. Their defense is legit. You guys know that.
Mm-hmm.
We've had our own share of issues along the way, but we battled and overcame them. We didn't play our best game today, but we found a way to win. We weren't good in the red zone, but when we needed it, we found it. And right on down the line. And from their perspective, that's true. And you know something? It is true because you know the AFC North as well as anyone. Is it not just a series of 6 steel cage matches every year?
No doubt.
So that's what the North is about. We know that. That's how it is. The flip side is if you're a fan and you're asking questions, hey, what's wrong with this? How come this isn't working? What's going on there? There's an acknowledgement of that, and there should be. Tyler Linderbaum in Week 6 was talking about their short yardage issues.
Yep.
How come we're not picking up the short yardage? We should want it more than they do. Did they have trouble picking up short yardage against Cleveland? They did. Okay, what about the red zone? Thought we had it figured out, right? We had red zone issues 4 weeks ago. We were really having red zone issues. Then they go back-to-back games where it looks like they've got it solved. And now we've gone back-to-back games where we're back to asking the same question. What's going on in the red zone? So you're right back there again. Offensive line, are they good? Are they not? John Harbaugh says they're good.
Mm-hmm.
They're our best 5. Okay? Lamar Jackson got hit how many times against Cleveland? Sacked 4 times by Myles Garrett. Is that always on the offensive line? You and I both know the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
There's times that the quarterback puts them in jeopardy. But still, there's a lot of pressure. But here's the next question. He usually would escape pressure and climb pockets and get outside. I don't see him doing as much of that. Is that by design? Is he still hurt? Is he still hurt from the hamstring? Does the knee injury more than what we thought before? If you're a fan, these are legitimate questions to ask. And Baltimore may or may not answer them the way you want them to be answered. But I think, again, we're right back to where we started. Both things can be true, and they are in this case.
Charles, it's like you're reading my notes because the next thing on my list is, does Lamar Jackson look like Lamar Jackson to you? And it's the part of this, like I would tell you I have some questions about some play calling, and I do think they have a particular right guard problem. But and I don't know how to define it. I know part of it is he doesn't want to run the ball the way that he used to, and
sure,
I get it. And some people say, well, you can always do that in the playoffs, but I don't know. You needed to win that game on Sunday, and there were times where I don't know how to define this because it's in context. It's not critical of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's a one-of-one talent. He's one of the great. When he does hang in the pocket, he has precision in throwing the football. He's one of the great throwers of the football of this era. But I don't know, Charles, to me, he just doesn't look like Lamar Jackson to me these last couple of weeks.
And we're in the same spot in terms of if we go back to game day, the first series of the game when they got into the red zone, he climbed the pocket and made that dash into the secondary and picked up a first down. Now, of course, it resulted in a field goal ultimately, but he took off and ran. And remember, prior to, he did not practice on Wednesday, sore knee, right? That was the listing. And so we opined in the booth, well, the knee must be feeling pretty good by that little dash there. I don't remember us seeing another dash like that the rest of the day. I remember him getting out of the pocket and finding Zay Flowers for that big gain. But he also had the opportunity to run on that play. And probably old Lamar would have taken off and outrun to get Grant Delpit and got upfield and gained big yardage. But in this case, he gets outside and he keeps the play alive. And Zay Flowers does the right thing as a receiver, finds open space, and they make a nice connection for a big gain. So all these things, you're sitting there saying to yourself, is he really right health-wise? Is this a conscious decision to do what he's doing? But I go back to that first dash in the first quarter, and then I didn't see it again. I wonder if he is 100% right, and if he is just saying, hey, I'm not what I can be, but I'm pretty darn good if I do other things.
He is. There's no debate about that.
He is,
yes.
and there's no debate about it. But also what it does is it changes maybe what Todd Monken can do in terms of play calling. You know, Lamar transmits to him, hey, just so you know, this is how I'm feeling today. This is what's going down. Todd Monken's going to adjust his play calling and never say a word to us about it, and nor should he. But I think that's kind of where we are. We suspect it, but I'll guarantee you this. You think you're going to hear from Lamar Jackson? No.
No, yeah.
You think the Ravens are going to go, well, you know, after that first dash, you know, no.
Yep.
So fans, you're allowed to guess, speculate, wonder, but while they're winning football games, they may have to do it differently than they have in the past. They may do it differently than maybe Lamar Jackson might want to if he's having to work around what he perceives as this isn't 100% for me. And the great ones always find a way to do that.
Charles Davis is with us here on GCR on the call again Sunday for CBS. Charles, you know, what do you make of John Harbaugh's defense of the offensive line? It's strange because just a couple of weeks ago he was, you know, saying, "Hey, everything's right. Like we consider making changes." And then this year he was, you know, this week he seemed kind of peeved about the question. I was like, I don't know, you know, John, you were the one talking about it a couple weeks ago. What do you make of his defense of the offensive line? It feels like that when we say offensive line, we're really kind of saying guard and maybe even more so at this point Faalele, because I think Voorhees has actually played a little bit better in recent weeks. Because I do think it's possible that he's honest. Like, this is the best group of five that we have, and I think the question becomes, like, it has it gotten to a point where maybe it's worthy of just seeing what it might look like with someone else out there?
No, I think that let's go back to when that time frame, right? So it's almost about the time Linderbaum said, hey, do we want it more on short yardage or not, right? It's around that time frame, you know, that John Harbaugh was like, hey, I don't like some of the things we're seeing, and I'm paraphrasing, but I'm in the ballpark, right, Glenn? Hey, I'm not crazy about what I'm seeing, and we need to take a good look at what's going on.
Yep.
To me, what I would suspect has happened, because you don't last 18 years in the NFL with the record John Harbaugh has without doing some deep dives, right? I think that they went in there and they said, okay, what if we try this? What if we go here? What if this person plays versus that person? What if? And I do think that they've gotten to the point where they've concluded this is truly our best five. And now we're at the stage of the season where experimentation is no longer really a great option for us. Continuity is a better option for us. Because let's face it, Glenn, when you start to think now, okay, if you're going to make some moves, right, and let's say we're talking about right guard with Faalele, you're going to go with a rookie?
Right. Emory Jones, who didn't have a preseason, who didn't have a training camp.
Didn't have a preseason. Right. And don't forget, he played right tackle all in college. So you're making a projection and moving him and doing all those things, right? So that's just one spot. Are you going to go, you know, at a tackle position? Well, you're not benching Ronnie Stanley. You're not benching Rosengarten. Okay? That's just not happening. So any of the things that you're going to do inside, you're making a move on a projection and have nothing that you can really go to and say, this is it. So I think what John Harbaugh is telling us is really true. I think that, hey, we've done our homework on it. You guys don't have to know what it is, but we did. And guess what? In our homework, these are our five. And the best thing we can do is let them keep playing. Now, to me, the unspoken issue, and I'm not sure it's an issue, I still think there's an adjustment with the loss of Joe D'Alessandro, the offensive line coach, with his death and George Warhop coming in. You are doing different things, hearing things differently, et cetera, et cetera. As much as coaches try and keep it pretty much the same, all of them have their own teaching techniques, different things they're looking for. You get where I'm coming from on that. That may still be something that they continue to sort through, because you know how great it was under Joe D. You understood, you know, where they were. They understood him. And this isn't to say that they don't like what they have, okay? That's not it at all. It's just change. And I can just tell you, at almost any position, if you have multiple coaches in a short amount of time, it's not the greatest thing in the world for you. I remember when I actually coached. I coached at the University of Pacific for a year. The year I took over, the senior defensive backs that I coached, I was their fourth coach. Okay? I felt for those kids.
Yeah.
You know, like that's 4 different techniques, 4 different ways of saying things, 4 different eyes that are telling them, I like this, not that. The next guy, no, I like this, not that. The next guy, no, I like, you see where I'm going?
Yep.
I felt for those kids big time. I was like, oh my God, I'm your fourth? How could you even line up at this point? That's not the same here in Baltimore, but I think that it plays into it a little bit as well.
He is Charles Davis. Charles, let me go to your side of the ball. Let me go to the safety position, in fact, because I've been struggling to define it, right? Like, all of us in this city know the greatness of Kyle Hamilton and that he has fully come into his own as in the legacy of great Ravens defensive players. He's there, and we've all seen the impact of them getting Alohi Gilman and what they were able to do with Kyle Hamilton because of it. But there's no statistic, right? There's no – it's not like with Ed Reed where you can put up an interception number and define it. How can you help us define the greatness of Kyle Hamilton and why he's, like, worthy of being discussed among the best defensive players in all of football right now?
I think you made the case while you were going through it that we can't really put a name on it, although I think we're going to try pretty soon. He has a position that isn't a position. Mm-hmm. Okay? He is the ultimate hybrid, undefined, positionless player, whatever thing we were going to call, say, whatever, right? All that is involved in this. But I think the best way to define it is last year, this defense took off when they moved him back off the ball.
It's amazing.
Because at that time, that's what they needed.
Yep.
And he gave that to them. This year, they needed him up front, and they were able to move him with Gilman coming in. Gilman takes pressure off of Starks. Starks now can just go play as a rookie instead of, I got to call everything back here? No, you don't anymore. I got it. Veteran came in and was calling it from day one, and off they go. And now you can just kind of plug him everywhere. I remember covering the Minnesota Vikings when Harrison Smith was in his prime, the hitman himself. And I used to call him the fixer. Now, I can't use that anymore because we got the legalized gambling.
It's an awkward,
and way
some
too
connotations
there,
yeah.
Right, it's a bad connotation, okay? But at that time, I called him the fixer. You know why? Because under Mike Zimmer, whatever leak was happening, whatever place they were having trouble, I used to always say, hey, Zim was like, hey, Harrison, fix it.
Yep.
And he would, whether it was get near the line of scrimmage and make a play, whether it was playing half field, was playing middle of the field, whether it was blitzing. I remember them playing the Rams one year when Jeff Fisher was the head coach, okay? And I believe, one of the Signettis, not the one who's the head coach at Indiana, but his brother was the offensive coordinator. Either him or Rob Boris is the tight ends coach at the Rams. They used a lot of ghost motion, meaning that wide receiver coming back behind the running back, and, you hand it off to run back, then you fake it to the receiver who ran the motion. They ran a ton of that, right? And in the second half, it was like Zim had said, I am sick and tired of this ghost motion and what they're doing off of it. Harrison, fix it. The first 2 plays of the second half, he just blew plays up back there with ghost motion and everything else. The ghost motion went right out the window. That's Kyle Hamilton. Okay, where do you need to go? What do I need to have happen? Look, in our game last week, I said on air, this is how good Kyle Hamilton is. We haven't even called his name yet. But that's because they don't need him yet.
Yep.
Guess what? By the end of the game, 9 tackles, 3 pass broken up, X number of tackles for a loss. All of those things come into play. How many quarterback hurries? They all come into play for him. Oh, and then down the stretch, that was him in pass coverage downfield knocking a ball away.
Right.
So he doesn't lose any of the skill that he has as a defensive back as he adds to his game. A lot of these players, and I'll leave it here, Glenn, a lot of these players that we have who can make position changes and do things, I applaud the heck out of them. But most of them do it week to week. This week I need you here. Next week I need you there. He does it play to play. That's a whole different ballgame. Because I don't care how versatile you are. At a certain point, you're like, what do I do on this play now?
Right. Right.
And he does it, and he
Seamlessly.
does it
Seamlessly, no doubt.
Seamlessly. And it's not just because we know he's a Mensa, guy. That helps.
Yep.
But I know a lot of Mensa people that can't do this.
He's his length too, man. He's incredible. All right.
But it's the length, it's the agility, it's the I still see that play he made at Notre Dame his last year there in the opener against Florida State when he came from the middle of the field and knocked the ball away on a deep fade route, almost on the sideline. And then he ran 4.56 at the combine, and people freaked out about it. I don't know about his speed. And this is one of those times, Glenn, where I'm going to look at myself and say, boy, I had this one right from day one. He was my favorite player in that draft, and I laughed at everybody.
Worked
I said,
out
you
all
guys
right.
need to stop. Just let him play.
Worked out all right. All right, can I give you two quick ones? I know we don't do quick ones, you and I, but can I give you two quick ones?
I'll go quick for you.
The are from 1-5 to 5-5. Incredible turnaround. Are they a viable Super Bowl contender at this point?
They are, but they have to beat teams that truly are, right? But you look at who they beat in this thing to get to 5-5. That's not going to convince anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But we like the makeup of this team so well that we're there with them. They will have their opportunities coming up, and if they do what we suspect, then I think we can get rid of that question. But they haven't beaten the good teams yet.
And I look, we all know this is the NFL. A week ago, everybody was writing off the Browns, and it came down to it. How are the Jets threatening on Sunday? What would they do to give themselves a chance of coming into Baltimore and beating the Ravens?
Quarterback change, going to Tyrod Taylor, and now you have a true pro back there who won't be rattled like what we saw against Dylan Gabriel and then against Shedeur Sanders when Zach Orr turned up the heat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was ugly, right? I don't think you can do that with Tyrod Taylor. You can turn the heat on him, but he won't come apart. That part's just not going to happen. I think he'll utilize Breece Hall better out of the backfield. If he's not running it, he'll be a viable pass target for him, something they've needed to do more of, in my humble opinion. Okay? And the Jets have pride like anyone else. They want to find out what they've got going into next year. And when you make the change from Fields to Taylor at this stage of the year, that's a head coach telling his team, we're not tanking the year. That's a head coach telling the team, I'm trying to win games with you. And that's why you have to be wary of teams like that.
He is the great Charles Davis. You, of course, see him Sunday on CBS alongside Andrew Catalan and Jason McCourty for Ravens Jets at 1 o'clock. Charles, always appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for doing this. Look forward to seeing you Sunday.
Hey, look forward to seeing you, Glenn. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, everyone who can hear our voices. Be good.